Welcome to the 39th edition of the Pro Wrestling Zone. I am Peanut Gallery.
What? And he's Tiger Height, apparently.
Cool, so I'm both. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. So,
Yes.
I had the orientation of let's start happy and then go into misery because I want all of you to be miserable at the end. But I guess Peanut Gallery wants to be cynical. So,
What? So, yes, I want to start out with the misery, and then we go to happy.
okay, whatever. You know
Like
what?
crotch dog.
Okay, fine. So, let's talk about the news. There's a lot going on. Let's obviously get to the significant part later.
Yes.
But Mark Henry and Leo Rush's little Twitter spats back and forth.
Yay.
So
That happened.
yeah, so Leo Rush released an album. There's like one song that's okay, but the rest of it is terrible.
Okay.
He was trying to insinuate
Yeah.
that Mark Henry kept him down in the WWE.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of tried to play the race card against another black guy, which made no sense.
Right.
I mean, did you even see the tweets? They were like, I cringed.
Yeah, they were. It was kind of like pulling a Joe Biden when Joe Biden said, "Are you really black?"
Right. No, if you don't vote for me, you're not really black. That was he's done, but we'll get to that later. But it was the funniest thing. I'm like, dude, are you that desperate for these sales? It's like, dude, just make good music and promote it.
Right.
You don't have to try to maybe go and ask Mark Henry. Hey,
Yeah.
Mark Henry, can you promote my album? It would be really cool. Yeah, Mark Henry would be more than happy to do that.
If your music was any good, but it's not. So there we go.
There's like one song that's okay.
Okay. Well, you know.
I mean,
but it's
for a hip hop album, I'm like, okay, there's something there.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so black and hip hop, yeah, that makes total sense there.
Right. Anyway, so yes, he's 25, incredibly immature. Mark Henry kind of trashed him, and it was kind of the same thing of what happened with. Well, we'll talk about that later. But it was kind of the same thing with the whole Jordan Miles thing.
Yes.
And a specific superstar kind of hitting him with a ball in.
Ah, yes.
Yes, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
The follow-up on Drew Gulak, because more information has come out regarding what happened during the contract negotiation.
Yes.
So, WWE offered Drew Gulak a contract, and it was going to be the same pay
Right.
as it was beforehand.
Right.
But this was before he went to 205 or to SmackDown from 205 Live in a prominent role
Yes.
with one of the best wrestlers ever.
Right.
And he wanted more money.
Right.
And there's other things that came out after that, which we'll get to here,
Right.
because I think it's fun. And they basically said no.
WWE said no.
WWE said no, but instead of saying no and being mature adults and maybe renegotiating a little bit more, they revoked the initial offer back and just released him.
Right. They let his contract expire.
Right. Instead of, being mature adults and saying, no, but let's negotiate. You're one of
Right.
the best talents in the world. We don't want you to go anywhere else because we know that shit's opening back up.
Right. And we know what company you're going to go to at some point in time.
Right. So they're like, nope, we're just going to let you lapse. I'm like, dude, you're ridiculous.
Right.
Oh, also, a fun fact going into this, WWE signed Ric Flair back.
Yes, they did. Didn't they also sign Kurt Angle back?
Yes, they did. Well,
Okay.
it's a one-off.
Oh, it's a one-off.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a one-off.
So it's per appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ric Flair apparently is still with WWE, and
He's getting paid a contract because he is Ric Flair.
right.
So
It's a just because contract.
and it's like, oh, you release all of these superstars
Right.
who are actually doing stuff, and Ric Flair does not need to sign your contract.
Right.
He's Ric Flair. He owns Ric Flair. He owns Nature Boy. He
Right.
is a brand within of himself.
Right.
Why did you sign him?
Because they're afraid that he'll go other places.
Because they're retarded.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure Ric Flair has a nice little cushy
Right.
job there, and good on him, I guess.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, I'm not mad about
Yeah.
it. Whatever.
Well, let's talk about FTR.
WWE just looks like jackasses. Yes. So, the Revival got a cease and desist from WWE.
No.
No, they did.
Oh, is it?
For FTR.
No, I thought it was from a company in North Carolina. It was from.
I thought that one, and then there was the Revolt one, and then WWE did another one.
So FTR.
No, this is for FTR, not the Revolt.
Oh, okay.
So there are two of them for FTR.
Yeah.
And then there's one for the Revolt.
But WWE is nothing on FTR, so there we go.
Yes. So they're basically just doing this because they're butthurt.
Right.
Anyway, but we'll discuss more about FTR. So the company, North Carolina, I don't believe that cease and desist really did anything.
No, because the people who are called the Revolt, who wrestle locally in North Carolina that we talked about a few weeks ago.
Caleb Conley and Ricky Zane or something like that. I don't care enough to actually look up his name.
But apparently they did not even file a trademark until this whole thing came out.
Right.
And so it really depends on who filed the trademark first and whose trademark is more acceptable.
Right. They filed the trademark like 2 days ago. And the Revolt or the Revival, let's just call them the Revival just because that's the most well-known name. The Revival submitted their trademark on the Revolt right after they were released.
Yeah.
So the evidence that these two, which are Caleb Conley and them,
right.
They have the evidence that they were using the Revolt before, but they didn't have a trademark for it.
Right.
It's almost like the UWF situation with Herb Abrams and the other guy. The other guy did not do the trademark.
Right.
I can't remember the older one.
I don't know. Who cares?
I think it was Vern. Anyway, but it's the same situation.
Right.
Where he used the name before clearly, but he did not file the trademark for it.
Right.
So Herb Abrams was in his full right to go in there and use that name.
Right.
Same thing here. The Revolt was not copyrighted by these two Hanyaks.
Right.
So guess what? We're gonna use the Revolt and FTR because we already own FTR.
Right.
And we already issued the trademark for the Revolt.
Right.
So this makes no sense.
Right.
They're not going to win based on basic fucking trademark law.
Right. And also, I mean, even though they can still use the Revolt as a tag team name, I'm sure, but it's like, well, we've been building this reputation up for years. Like, well, reputation, courts don't care about that. Right. The courts might consider that if the trademarks came in at the same time and there's a dispute. That might be a consideration, but it's doubtful.
Right.
It's highly doubtful.
I honestly think it's bullshit. I think that they kind of dropped the ball.
They did. They dropped the ball and didn't file the paperwork.
Right. They know they did.
Right.
And guess what? So AEW, for an example, we knew that Cody and Tony Khan submitted the copyright stuff for AEW and All Elite Wrestling before the company was even announced. That's how you fucking do this shit.
Right.
You get it done, then you build the brand around it.
Right.
You don't build the brand and then try to submit the paperwork because somebody else has submitted the paperwork.
Right.
This is called fucking paperwork, jackass.
Right.
They're going to lose.
Right.
And if the courts are not retarded, they're going to give it to the Revival.
Right.
Anyway, we will obviously keep our thumb on that because it is important this is a learning lesson.
Yeah, it is.
And this is good for them to know because Matt Hardy has done this too.
Right.
Matt Hardy, issued the trademark for Twisted Fate and all that stuff because he understands the branding aspect.
Right.
These people just did not do this, and it's not a bad thing.
Right.
These guys are young, but it's just a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Trademark the stuff before you build the brand.
Right.
It's simple.
There we go.
Anyway, let's go into Down in the Dumps.
Yeah, let's go to rock bottom here. Everyone knows that there are two significant deaths that happened this last week.
And two of them, one was a high because of the last action that he did, and one was a low because of the circumstances that happened before what happened.
So let's just go to Shad Gaspard.
He went missing on the 18th. No, the 17th. He went missing on the 17th.
It's all you, boy.
It was a riptide. He was pulled under. The rescuers were going to rescue him, but he pointed to his son, who was also
in the riptide.
And riptides are very scary. They're very dangerous.
Right.
The last thing that these rescuers did was they saw him go underwater.
Right.
He went missing.
Right.
Now, obviously, they can't declare him dead until there's a body or a certain amount of time.
Right.
So that's what they did.
So they searched for him for about 24 hours or so, maybe 48 hours. I don't know.
They suspended the search.
Right. Still couldn't find him, and then his body was found in Venice Beach a few days later.
No, it was like a day later. This happened within like 3 days.
Oh, okay. So it was a few days later before his body turned up.
Yes, I think it was like on the 22nd is when his body actually turned up. So, yes, this is a tragedy, obviously.
Yep.
He was like 32.
No, 39.
39.
He was 39.
He was 39.
He was gone way too soon.
Right.
Very well respected man.
Yes. Every single person, huge flood of stuff on social media.
Yep. John Cena. It's not John Cena, but I mean, we're pretty sure it's John Cena who donated $40,000
to the funeral.
To the funeral. I know that Tony Khan donated $10,000, and I also know that Cody and Brandy Rhodes also donated a sizable amount of money. But of course, their GoFundMe page is up. I think they're trying to raise $100,000.
Oh, they already reached it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they reached it by over 2,000 last time I checked.
Right. So, I don't know what they'll do with the additional money. I don't know if they're going to donate it to a charity or something like that. But if you want to donate, by all means, do it.
Oh, absolutely. I'll even link it in the description too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really just to help the Gaspard family,
right.
And there's a shirt that has been released.
Yes, if you want to donate with Pro Wrestling Tees,
and I will. I will also put that in the link in the bio as well, so you can look it all up. The shirt's really cool.
Yeah.
We watched Crime Time.
Yep.
We thought Shad was gonna be like this huge deal because he's big.
He was a big dude.
He was a big dude. He was like 6'2", 250 pounds, like super like big, but he just never really caught that thing.
Yeah.
He never really caught that momentum that he seeked. He pretty much did not wrestle after that, other than like some occasional appearances.
Right.
But it's definitely a hard hit, and we thought that this was going to be the big one. but like 2 days ago. Was it 2 days? Yeah, it was 2 days ago.
It was Hana Kimura. Which Tiger Height never even heard about, but... Well, I've never heard of her either.
The only reason that I knew of Hana Kimura was because she was one of the participants in the Stardom Showcase at last year's Wrestle Kingdom.
So she is a Stardom star.
Yes.
But she was also very prominent in her role on a Netflix show as well, which is where most people will recognize her.
Right.
So she was 22 years old. We don't know the exact circumstances around her death.
Right.
We speculate that it is suicide.
It is speculation, but it's obvious it is, but we can't say for a definitive doubt.
So, what show did she appear in?
She appeared She appeared in Terrace House Tokyo 2019 to 2020.
Okay.
So basically, it was like the Japanese version of Big Brother.
Right.
So that's kind of what she showed up in. She was a second generation star. And her official date was May 23rd, 2020. Is when she died.
So there is speculation that she did face a lot of she was reacting to hate on social media.
She was posting some very alarming
stuff
about self-harm and about this stuff. But here are the last two posts, or that she tweeted anyway. This is the Twitter. Nearly 100 frank opinions every day. I couldn't deny they hurt me. Die. You are disgusting. You should disappear. I believe these things about myself more than they did. Thank you, Mother, for the gift of life. My whole life, I wanted to be loved. Thank you, everybody who supported me. I love you all. I'm sorry for being weak.
Okay.
Her last Instagram photo, which has been taken down, she said, "Goodbye, I love you, have fun, and live a long time. I am sorry." It was clear
that she was reacting to negativity towards social media.
Right.
So I think that this is a double-edged sword, in my opinion. Yep. I think that, yes, wrestling fans are known for being very, very very cultish when it comes to hating on somebody. Like, wrestling fans will all congregate towards this one issue and just start to spew hate.
And there's usually no reason for it. They're trolls. People just want to get a rise out of you. It happens all the time.
But the other thing, too, is that you should not... I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what people think of the crap that I do. I do stuff because I enjoy doing it. I don't look at any comments. I don't look at any hate. I don't look at any of that crap because I just don't fucking care what people think.
Right.
Most of the time.
Now, so here is what...
I think about what my mother thinks sometimes, but even then...
It goes in one ear and out the other.
Right.
So, obviously, this is a tragedy. She was 22, a very talented wrestler. People were really shoehorning her to be like the next Io Shirai.
Right.
And I agree. I agree with you to some points, but also just keep in mind there was something else going on.
Yes. There were things that she
mentally
was probably dealing with some issues that we will never understand.
Right. Depression comes in a form of a smile. Look at Robin Williams.
Right.
Robin Williams, donated a lot, and he still killed himself.
Right.
Obviously, I wouldn't say that suicide is a coward's way out. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right.
Every single person, if you are in the limelight, gets hate.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We get hate.
Right.
I've gotten death threats. Peanut Gallery's gotten death threats. I've gotten death threats against my parents. But that's just all they are. People just want to get a rise.
Right.
And I do not condone people committing suicide, but this really...
I also don't condone online bullying.
No, absolutely
not.
not.
If you say die, if you say you are disgusting, if you say you should just disappear, that's a problem.
It's a problem, but guess what? It's going to be there always.
Right. It's always going to be a reality that we just have to face. And with the way the social media is, it's just easier than ever for people to get their message out.
This kind of stuff has been on the internet since the internet has ever existed.
Right.
People have a sense of control when they have the power of anonymity.
Right.
And that's what this case was.
Right.
These people would never say this to this girl's face.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Because you see the face, you see all of this. There is a sense of power and control over the narrative given this anonymity.
Right.
Like I said, it's a double-edged sword.
It
It sucks that she's gone. I feel bad for her, and my thoughts and prayers and everything go out to her family and friends who knew her. But this was not the way to handle this.
Right. This was she did not handle the situation well.
given the age, she was 22. Your brain isn't even fully developed until you're 27.
Right, and see, she didn't have a lot of control over her own emotions.
Right.
That to me, just,
I didn't have control over my emotions at this time either.
Right, but still, it's just like, when you become famous, you kind of have to have control over your emotions. You can't make rash decisions. You have to be mindful with your choices, and that's just the way that it is. Because now we're never going to be able to experience that. So,
will these people feel bad?
Right.
Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know these people.
I don't know. I hope they're happy with themselves, though.
Oh, absolutely. No,
fuck these people. Seriously.
Right. Absolutely. This is why, even though that we are anonymous, I slip up on your name and people know who we are.
Right.
And it's like, okay, whatever.
Right, who cares?
But at the same time, I could easily say, oh, with all the hate that we get and the address leaking and all of that fun stuff that happened, I could have easily have done it. But guess what? I sat there and said, you know what? There are people who did appreciate my work. I looked at both sides.
Right.
And guess what? That's what you have to do when you put your ideas, when you become a public figure.
Right. That's just what happens.
Right.
You just have to deal with with the risks.
Right. Obviously, we're not a depression thing. If you are depressed, if you have these thoughts that this girl had, and based on what this is,
we'll talk
to somebody.
We'll put a link to the suicide hotline in the description below.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for both the United States and I'm gonna do it for Japan.
All right, perfect.
Because talking to somebody from somebody who has dealt with depression in the past, who actually had these thoughts at one point in time in their life, I can say that talking about it was one of the most powerful tools I could have possibly have done for myself.
Right. So there we go. Anything else that happened though this week?
Nothing,
as far as news goes.
Nothing outside of that. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Owen Hart review for Dark Side of the Ring
when we come back from our break.
Just to kind of brighten up the mood, because there's a lot of really good things about this episode.
Right. So.
And then Double or Nothing.
Yep. So we'll be right back.
Yeah, absolutely. You're about to listen to the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast, a Majestic production property. One of the quickest rising professional wrestling podcasts on the market today, and the most entertaining podcast in the history of existence. Please note, before diving into the show, that this is for entertainment purposes only, so myself and Peanut Gallery engage in exaggerations, dirty or offensive jokes, and satirical comments. If you are a triggered little snowflake who gets professionally offended, this is not the podcast for you. If you do enjoy our work, we ask that you contribute to our Patreon page at patreon.com/MajesticP. Contributors get access to the Discord, vote on what topic we cover, and enjoy exclusive content such as pay-per-view watch parties. Here's a sample of that from NXT TakeOver Portland. What about the other company that Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly went from?
Oh, ROH?
The one that they were signed exclusively to.
Oh, Ring of Honor?
Oh, no. Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, my God. I felt that in my hand. If this is something you believe you would enjoy, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/MajesticP and become a patron. This ensures that we continue to entertain you for years to come. Without further ado, sit back and enjoy the show.